Hey, and welcome to this terrific Table Talk Tuesday on Liquid Lunch. You're watching Liquid Lunch on NEWSMAX TV. I'm John TABACCO. We're coming today live from the downtown studios. Yes, we're still on Broadway. We have not been canceled yet. My mom is very proud. She always said I was going to make it to Broadway. But we're in the downtown studios, of course. We're at the Question Tequila Studios. We are well fortified this week with plenty of Question and Punzone and all that other stuff. And we're going to drink to our heart's desires today. But before getting to that and all that other good stuff, let's go right down the street to the New York Stock Exchange, where today the markets are up 257 points. The Dow is finally above that key 27,000 number that I've been telling you is the next support level. I wanted to stay above 27,000, maybe close above there this week on Friday. And if some of this China stuff happens to come to fully to fruition, and the Turks stop attacking the Kurds, we may be in for a real rocket shot to the upside on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And Bitcoin today at 8,300, down about 70 points, but no real problems there. 10,000 is the next number to the upside. To the downside, under 8,000, there could be a trap door there. It could fall to about 5,000. So be careful, stay alert, stay nimble with your investments. Do not take any investment advice from me because I'm not a financial advisor. I just play one on TV. But when I play one on TV, I am drinking alcohol. So do not listen to me. But listen to him. I'm joined by the guy who keeps me straight, my training wheels, and the guy who makes sure I stop exaggerating and misrepresenting things, my co-host, managing editor, Frank Morano.
Well, that's right, John. Hello.
Hello. Are you staying for the whole show today?
I will be. I will be.
Yesterday you cut out at halftime, and you kind of left me hanging there.
Well, look, hey, we all have our, other lives to tend to. I understand you're not going to be here tomorrow.
I'm not going to be here, but I will be on the show from sunny Boca Raton, Florida, where I'll be attending the U.S. Domestic Securities Lending Conference, where all the big macas from the equity finance world will be. And then I'll be heading over to NEWSMAX headquarters right there in Boca Raton. And I'm sure our good friend John Bachman, who joined us yesterday, host of NEWSMAX Now, seen at 6 and 9 p.m. right here on NEWSMAX, is going to have an earful for me.
Oh, boy.
And if you think, for those of you who are loyal viewers of the show, you know this. At the end of every show, we do the WTF, what's the facts? And Frank corrects all my mistakes, errors, edits, mischaracterizations, exaggerations, and all that other good stuff. But then Bachman comes off the top rope like Jimmy Superfly Snooker when I got to get his edits. So I'm in for a rough week, although I'll be in sunny Florida. And on Thursday, I'll be in Miami. And Friday, I'll be right back here with you.
All right. Well, there's a ton of news, and we're going to cover it throughout the next 2 hours. Rudy Giuliani is now responding to John Bolton. We're also learning that Rudy Giuliani was paid $500,000 by a firm that was controlled by one of these guys that was just arrested last week, one of those Soviet-born businessmen. There's a ton of news. We're going to get to it. Libra is kicking off. Aaron Sykes is going to be here to break that down for us. But
Libra?
Here is something.
You're talking about horoscopes? We don't usually do horoscopes.
Maybe we should start.
Maybe we should. I love Libras, to be honest with you. Libras are good.
I don't even know what sign is, what sign.
Kyle's a Libra. But although I didn't like him a few minutes ago, I like him now.
Well, what did he do?
Nah, I before the show, I get all pumped up, and then one little thing goes wrong, and I lose my you-know-what, and, I can't help myself sometimes.
I just
always want my way. I'm spoiled.
Yes, that is true.
This? I don't have
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. Well, something that is not breaking news to anybody with a brain is that LeBron James is a total idiot. And that is precisely the subject that I am speaking, frankly, about.
Let's drink to that.
So we've been following this situation with the NBA and China. If you've been living in a cave or you happen to have internet access that's only controlled by the Chinese government, let me bring you up to speed. China is in the midst of cracking down on a movement for freedom in Hong Kong. There are millions of people out there in Hong Kong literally every day protesting for things like not wanting to be sent to prison for protesting. They're no longer allowed to wear masks. If they dare stand up to the Chinese government, they get shot. That's their reward. That's their idea of freedom. So the general manager of the Houston Rockets, or as we say here in New York, the Houston Rockets, said, you know what? I'm going to send out a pretty innocuous tweet. I'm going to send out a tweet that says, we stand with the people of Hong Kong and their struggle for freedom, in words or substance. I'm paraphrasing. It's not a quote. And the Chinese government couldn't be bothered to tolerate anybody standing for freedom. So they immediately start threatening the NBA, canceling all sorts of activities. And you know what? People in Congress, like on the far left, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and on the far right, Ted Cruz, they wrote a letter to the NBA, said, tell those guys to take a hike. You realize how oppressive the Chinese government is? This is a country that has Uyghurs, Chinese Muslims, in concentration camps right now. This was a country that until recently was enforcing a mandatory one-child policy, including forcing women to have abortions. This is a country where there is virtually no freedom of religion. There is virtually no freedom of speech. It is an authoritarian communist dictatorship. It is evil. It is absolutely pure evil. But as far as the NBA is concerned, heaven forbid that should cost them a few shekels. Listen to what this schlemiel, LeBron James, said when asked about the controversy involving the Houston Rockets general manager.
We all talk about this freedom of speech. Yes, we all do have freedom of speech, but at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others and you're only thinking about yourself. So I don't believe, I don't want to get into a word or sentence feud with Daryl Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke.
So I want you to keep in mind what LeBron James just said there. Sometimes you need to think about others, not only about yourself. I'm sorry. LeBron James, when this guy was standing with the millions of people that are seeing their freedoms oppressed, he was thinking about himself. You know what LeBron James tweeted? My team in this league just went through a difficult week. I think people need to understand what a tweet or statement can do to others. And I believe nobody stopped and considered what would happen. Could have waited a week to send it. Well, I'm terribly sorry, LeBron James, that you had to go to the inconvenience of taking a 13-hour chartered flight to China, staying in a luxury hotel in Shanghai for 5 days while promotional appearances got canceled. This is a man, LeBron James, that tweeted that pretty much everybody that voted for Donald Trump is an uneducated idiot. LeBron James ought to get a clue. The Chinese government is evil. And the fact that LeBron James and the NBA can't wait to get on their knees and beg them for their forgiveness.
More than beg.
Tells you a lot about
knees,
where LeBron James' values are and where the NBA's values are. All these guys that are principled when it comes to standing up to American people like Donald Trump or bathroom laws in certain states, all these guys are awfully brave when they're in a country that allows freedom of speech.
Yep.
But heaven forbid there's billions of dollars in Chinese money on the line. Whoa! Let's wait a week to send a tweet. LeBron James is an idiot, and I don't understand why he enjoys the platform that he does beyond the basketball court. He's a total buffoon, and I cannot denounce in harsher terms his idiocy.
What he said. That's all I gotta say. Well, he said. I'm just gonna be a hype man. By the way, somebody get him a water or something, because I never see him get that red. But
Yeah,
you're
sorry.
really
Thank
ticked
you.
off.
I'll take a bubbly if there's a bubbly.
He's really ticked off today. And you know me, I've instituted my own personal Nike ban a long time ago. You may want to look at Nike stock since back to school came around. It's down because freedom-loving moms around the world who spend money know that Nike doesn't care about anybody who cares about our flag. So LeBron James can shove his Nikes where the sun don't shine. And me, I like Under Armour. They got their slogan, protect this house. And that's what Donald Trump has been doing. Donald Trump should do an ad for Under Armour because he's protecting this house. And I'm also a fan of the three-stripe life also. So I'm doing Adidas and Under Armour, but Nike's a no-go for me. Dylan's got on Converse. Nico's got some Metro sneakers on there. I don't see those. No, Dylan has on Converse. But all right, there's not many Nikes in the studio. That's good. Rose has got some knee-high Cleopatra boots going there. All right, we're almost Nike-free in here, which is good. And we should stay that way. And you should stay that way. What you got to do with some of these companies is you got to make them pay where it hurts. And tell Phil Knight and his, Phil Knight has co-opted his company to basically say, I don't care about 50% of America. The 50% of America who voted for, by the way, this guy who occupies the White House and stands up for America everywhere he can, creates jobs, brings our military folks back here, closes our borders, protects our nation. And Phil Knight stands with Colin Kaepernick, a washed-up nobody. And they even took, if you remember, they took the Betsy Ross sneakers off the shelves. Right. And Nike and LeBron and all these socialist wackos. And by the way, you're so rich.
But John,
if you're so rich, you signed a $200 million contract. Give away your money. Go down to San Francisco and get some of the homeless people out of the tent cities down there and give them some cash.
But John, see, this is where I part company from what you said. Because
well, then
this
you're
is,
fired.
all right, I'll enjoy having my afternoons free again. But a socialist is somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, wants to redistribute wealth, and it's everything. What the NBA is doing, and what LeBron James is doing, is the most amoral, blatant form of capitalism in the world. Yes. They're saying, we don't care at all about human rights, about freedom of speech, or about anything else, or about people that are literally being persecuted and shot by the Chinese government. Why? Because there's a lot of dollars in China. That's the most capitalist thing you can do.
Let me tell you why, and I touched on this last week, and I'll touch on it more and more. People in Hong Kong had some kind of experimental promise from China that they were going to be this little outpost where they would try out democracy. And as soon as the people over there act up or express themselves, the Chinese government sends in all these guys with rubber bullets and they start shooting people in the face. And you're probably not far away from the old Tiananmen Square days when in China they were just running people over with tanks because they don't care about human lives. They force people to have abortions because they don't want too many humans in there ripping them apart. And you did a fantastic job of that today. And by the way, Frank did a fantastic job today of co-opting a great word, schlemiel. And if you don't know about schlemiel, there was a show on TV years ago called Laverne and Shirley, and part of the song was schlemiel, schlemazel, Hassenpfeffer Incorporated. So they worked in a brewery, but just a little piece of TV Americana
and it's
there.
To keep your Yiddish to English dictionaries from getting dusty.
Yeah, exactly. And we are celebrating still many of the Jewish holidays.
Yes,
this
Sukkot.
week is Sukkot. And later on, I may put on again my Trump yarmulke to celebrate the great Jewish holiday.
And I may put on a hat of my own.
Okay. Well, stay right there if you want to see two guys in crazy hats talking about the craziest stuff you ever heard of. You're watching Liquid Lunch on NewsMax TV, and we're coming back at you with a rocket of a show right after this.